concept. You have a great concept. You guys are doing it, man. And it's an honor for me to just be, a small rock, man, in your mountain. I'm going to pop a top in your honor.
Mr. Doc Walker blessed us with his presence and knowledge.
We want to welcome in our next special guest, Haley Skarupa. She's a three-time world champion in women's ice hockey and most recently won Olympic gold with Team USA.
The Cap Stadium Series is definitely my favorite, obviously. I'm a huge Caps fan, I always have been, and to be there at that game with my teammates and for us to bring, our gold medals to there and share it with everyone in this area was really, really special for me, and just the support and it's been tremendous from everyone in this area, and you can feel that there at that game.
Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast. Hashtag DC Sports Without the Politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network.
Muted. And welcome to episode 377 of Sports on the Hill podcast. And I'm joined here with Tim and DC's People's Champ. And Tim, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for this week, and enjoyed the game with you guys. It was great to hang out again.
Yeah, it was super fun. For people that don't know, Champ, Tim, and myself, along with Arun, all went to a very rainy Defenders game, and that's going to be our main topic of tonight's show, where you've celebrated the last two seasons at the end of the season with the Defenders, and it was cool to continue that tradition. Tim, Champ, and myself have now done this 2 years in a row, and Carol came last year, and Arun came this year, and it was cool that Champ got to meet Arun in person, and we got to enjoy a fun game, even if we didn't win. Not a lot on the line, but still a great game that we'll break down. But Champ, how are you doing tonight?
By the way, it popped up in my memories in my phone that on this day last year was when we attended that game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was on this day last year we attended that game, and then we got to attend this game. And it was a lot of fun. And I'm actually happy that I'm now talking to you guys on new hardware, and it's working just well. Big shout out to Sif for sending me the laptop that he wasn't using so that I can finally be able to be back into a better situation. But I long for a PC so that way I can really do some fun shit. But this will do.
It's a Mac that you're using right now?
No, it's HP.
HP, cool.
Nice.
That is awesome. Congratulations. You're sounding great. You're looking great. So it's working so far. So that is awesome. I want to start off our segment by sharing two VODs that we did this week. And so let me see if I can get this up here. And I'm going to switch to our share screen and see if this works. It's the wrong screen. All right, there we go. Let me just fix one other thing. And there we go. All right. So this was a clip that we did from the rain delay. So the game that we went to, it was pouring down. There was tornado warnings or watches all over the area, and people thought we were a little crazy for doing this, namely my mother. But I knew it was going to be a fun time, and it sure was. It was cool because maybe about 30% of the people who planned to attend this game showed up. And of that, definitely a big number decreased once we had this rain delay for lightning. It was still an entertaining game. The people that stayed really tried hard to get this beer snake going. and was successful on that. The supporter section was rowdy. Everybody kind of had the same idea that there was a section of Audi Field that wasn't getting rained on, because what was nice was the wind wasn't too bad, so the rain was kind of coming straight down, at least for a lot of it. And so in the drier section, it was definitely better. I'm going to show just, it was only a 1 minute live, but this is our during the rain delay. So we've got all the people from the podcast here. There you are. We got decent people, Sam. We got Tim. We got Arun over here. So yeah, it's a rain delay. Unfortunately, we got lightning, but yeah, it's a rainy, potentially tornado-y day. We're unfortunately down 7-0. We're just started the second quarter when the lightning hit, but it's super fun to be here. We'll try to do a couple of shots from the field a little bit later, but yeah. It's cool to be here with the guys, and we'll cover it definitely on Monday's episode of SportsOTHP podcast. But yeah, so everybody's out here, everyone's enjoying the rain delay.
Hey, where is that? Hey, the weather fucking sucks, but go Defenders!
There you go. But we're still out here, even in this crazy weather. But we'll come back with more if there's anything fun to update. Talk to you soon. So that was during the rain delay, and then this is from our seats at halftime. I also did a halftime show that was on Sports on the Hill podcast Facebook page, but you'll have to go to that page to see this one. We're just going to show the one last VOD from Twitch in case people missed it over on Twitch and any of the other ones. So this was at halftime. We were down 13-2, and then after this, I've got a bunch of pictures and videos that we'll just go through real quickly and showcase how the whole game went. But it was easier to do these VODs separately than have the other videos. So here's what our thoughts were on halftime podcast. We are here live at halftime, and I'm here with Decent People Champ.
It's a struggle right now, y'all. It's a struggle.
Yeah, we're down 13-2. We have the first safety in UFL history. So that's cool. We also got Arun over there. We got Tim. And so got the whole crew here. We'll be definitely talking about it on Monday, recapping this. It's been a soggy game with tornado warnings and a rain delay. But we're out here. Got some cool footage of some crazy sloppy football and of that safety. Go check us out on our Facebook page if you want to see that safety as well. So we'll have more to cover. Hopefully we'll get a big comeback. We'll get the ball first in the second half. And yeah, we're out here. Hope you're having a good Friday. Talk to you soon. That is the two little videos that we did there. And then let me just share this other app real quick. Let me pull up.
By the way, for those who may not know, that weather delay while we were there, it felt like that weather delay lasted like a long time, but it was 47 minutes.
Yeah, if someone had asked me, I would have said hour 15, just by feeling alone. But yeah, it's yeah,
the standing was the rough part, I guess, just for a while.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so here's a quick look at the journey. So with Metroid in there, we all met downtown. Why is this there? Okay. Sorry, we're going to mute this. So this is kind of our seats. We moved into the sort of the drier area. We're rocking out to some music here. This was so this is one of the things I wanted to showcase. Let me move this out of the way. So behind us here, you can see is the beer snake. Why is this not? I don't know why it won't stop. But anyway, so I think maybe the next one's the better picture. Oh, there it is. Yeah, people are trying to add to the beer snake. So these guys are the defenders of the beer snake. They're walking around during that rain delay, and so that was pretty cool that we got to be there with them. And then hold on, what is this? Where are we? So I wanted to also showcase the sloppy football that was being played. For some reason, it like randomizes this. I don't know why. Oh no, never mind. I forgot that the rain delay was before that. Okay, so here's what it was looking like. So I have to say that the field did a good job of like soaking all of this up. You'll see by the end of the game, like even though there's this huge, puddles, it starts to absorb it. But you can see right here, it's just like a sloppy mess. We were able to, get, fourth down stops and fumble recoveries. And then here, they fumbled it. They tried to get it out to the edge, and then was able to deflect it away. There was a little bit of back and forth. A penalty gets it pushed back. Here's how this beer snake is doing at this point. So at this point, we're only in the second quarter, but people were able to put a lot of work into this beer snake during that delay.
Bama's was sitting around for 47 minutes. They was getting liquored up for real, for real. This was an ultimate test for me of my sobriety, and I passed it with flying colors.
I know. I'm so proud of you.
That was tough to be sitting around, waiting around, not watching a game, and all it was like beer everywhere. It was like, holy shit, this is insane.
So, Tim, we didn't actually we missed out on an opportunity. We each got cans. We should have gotten something in a cup to add.
Yeah, we didn't contribute.
Yeah, we didn't contribute at all. But anyway, it was you can see how just wet and sloppy it's getting here. We get them pushed back into the goal line. They make a big run here out of the goal line, so it looks like they were doing well, but the penalty got them forced back. And then this was there's a flag on the play that gets it even further back. The people are going crazy. The snake is going wild over there, and this leads to this play right here. This is the first safety in UFL history, and we got to watch it live. And you can see there's a face mask it's not even called, and everyone's going crazy. You got Champ with the safety right there, and so we're under cover, as you can kind of see, and so yeah, it was an awesome play here. I'll do it one time with the audio so people can hear the reaction. I love it. So
that's the zone play.
So then there's this guy. I was taking some pictures of him. He seems like quite a character. And then what was it? I think it was start. So you can see the beer stick is getting a lot longer here as the game goes on. The supporter sections die hard. I didn't realize that they don't have chairs over there. They're standing holding that beer snake the whole game. But you can see
they better than me. They better than me. I wouldn't be able to do it. Not gonna be able to do it.
Look at this field, though, at this point in the third quarter, how much it drained in halftime. I thought that was kind of shocking comparatively to, not that much before. We unfortunately here is a missed field goal attempt. It was a rough game. We played a lot of our backups. It wasn't, from the game point of view, it wasn't a lot, but I felt like that we didn't want to showcase what we were going to do next week, because the next week's the playoff game is a rematch between these two teams. We've already beaten them there at their stadium. I kind of like the idea of, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, and you don't want to get anyone injured, especially with how few people you can suit up on game day. And so I think it was smart to sort of sit out some certain players and give other people an opportunity. There'll be a big rematch this upcoming Sunday, I believe it is, at 6 o'clock. I want to make sure I get the time right.
Yeah, that's right.
6 o'clock is right.
All right, cool. So it's on Sunday, and that game's on Fox. So it's a national televised game so that people can see. So it's hard to see here. This is a missed field goal because from my angle, I thought it was in, but it goes through the far upright, right, on the other side of it.
Yeah, I thought it was in at first too, but you definitely missed it wide.
No, I can see it from that angle. I can see it past the upright to the left, and I was like, oh, you missed it.
So it passed the near upright or the far upright?
The near one.
Oh, the near one us? Okay, maybe that's why I'm
Yeah.
seeing it. But we did eventually get a touchdown here. I'll showcase some of that. I like how Captain Obvious is there as a big time Cap supporter. And then here I think is the replay of the touchdown on the jumbotron. A simple route. I thought that there was some button hooks and out routes and slants that were working for the defenders. I felt like they didn't do a good enough job of moving the ball down the field. I understand it's a sloppy game, but at some point they were just playing up, and there was some opportunities there, which at some point we did take advantage of, but it just wasn't. It wasn't enough. But there is the picture of the crew all together, and we survived the game, and it was a lot of fun. And let me go back to our main screen for a second. And Champ, what were your thoughts on the game overall, and what are you looking to see going into this weekend's rematch?
Well, I mean, this game right here, again, you didn't have your number ones in there. It showed why the number ones are some of the more notable and important cogs in this machine that is the defenders. Matter of fact, it was announced recently that DC, it seems like DC and St. Louis cannot stay away from each other in terms of competition, because both teams have an equal amount of players that were named to the all UFL team, 7 total from each team. DC has 7, St. Louis has 7 total. DC's all UFL players are what's his name? Chris Rowland, who actually got 2 nods for all UFL, both on the offensive side of the ball as well as special teams. Rowland finished the regular season second in receiving yards with 522, third in receptions with 42 receptions, and had 4 total touchdowns in the season, 3 of them receiving, and he had the passing touchdown to Teamu, which was pretty cool. Also joining the all UFL team was offensive tackle Yasir Durant, who was the anchor for the offensive line that allowed the fewest sacks among all UFL teams. They only allowed 10 sacks as a team throughout the entire 10-game regular season. So that's awesome. On the defensive side, 4 guys were named to the all UFL team. They were, I'm checking right now, they were Joe Wallace, who was a defensive tackle, Derek Robertson on the defensive end, linebacker Anthony Hines, and cornerback DeAndre Baker. Wallace had a career-high 4.5 sacks, which was 6th in the UFL. Robertson had a career-high 5.5 sacks, which was tied with Andre Mintz for third most in the UFL. Hines had 55 tackles in 8 games that he played, including a career-high 11 against Arlington back on April the 27th. And then Baker, this is his second consecutive all-UFL defensive team selection. He had a career-high 2 interceptions, tied for second most in the UFL, and 10 total pass breakups, which was 3rd in the UFL. And then, of course, Rowland on special teams, which was his second time being named to the all UFL special teams. He had a combined 508 total yards returning on both kicks and punts, and had a 1,070 all-purpose yards, which led the UFL and whatnot. So that's just one thing to name on there. But the game itself, it's very unique to watch live and whatnot. But what was very unique was hearing Gene Steratore as they were going through those replay reviews and whatnot. We got to actually sit and hear him, navigate those situations and stuff like that. But then it also made people pissed off when it didn't go our way. It made them even more pissed off. It was just like, what the hell? But really, really fun time to go. It sucks that we lost, but the game didn't really have a lot of meaning except for maybe some momentum going into this Sunday's XFL Conference Championship game, and being able to have that momentum going into that game. But DC has already proven they can beat St. Louis in one of the toughest venues in the UFL in the Dome and be able to come out with the W. Hopefully they're able to do so this time. They'll have their number ones back. They'll have Tamu at quarterback. Hopefully they're able to go in, beat them, and put themselves in position to be in the UFL championship coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I definitely think that a lot of it will come down to the quarterback play for the defenders because as he goes, I think will go the team. I was looking up some different sack stats while you were talking about that because I thought it was really interesting. Last year, they allowed 22 sacks over 10 regular season games, which is the most in the league. And this year, they allowed 10, which is the fewest. So they cut it in less than a half. So, that's a huge improvement on the offensive line right there. Is the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. And so I think that's a really important stat. Tim, what are some of your thoughts on going to the game?
Yeah, I love the atmosphere. I think just the hardcore supporters in that section definitely made the game. And your video showed it. They're really the heart of the fan base. And I think that rain delay, like you said, it felt very long. And we lost probably at least half of the fans that showed up, but everybody that stayed, I think, was a really hardcore football fan, and that supporter section definitely kept the game interesting. Just I don't know if you guys remember it, but that field goal kicking contest they had where it was all the dudes in contest was hilarious because basically the first two were pretty bad and shanked it badly, like barely hit it off the ground. But wasn't it the white-haired beard?
The crazy guy.
Yeah.
It sucks because I was going live and it's showing a lot of it on our page, and I stopped it because I was like, no one's gonna hit any of these, and I thought it was like kind of a waste. And then like 2 guys after I stopped recording, it's that one.
There you go.
I was like, oh well. But if you want to see a little bit of what we were talking about, some of the halftime show on the SportsOTHP Facebook page would have a little bit of that competition because it was kind of amusing. And I got to give credit to the crowd for showing up in those kind of conditions, staying, supporting the team. A lot of them stayed to the very end, even though it was not a good game. And
including us, by the way.
Yeah, including us. So shout out.
How about the fact that there's a noise curfew in that because the game ran past the noise curfew, the PA announcer had to go silent.
Yeah, that was crazy. I've never gone to a football game without a PA announcer or music. If you think about it, like they couldn't play any of the music, and it like changes the atmosphere to have like a silent fourth quarter. It was very like unique experience I've never experienced before.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. I've only encountered it at concerts before, but it makes sense that sports is the same rule.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. So people don't know at 11:15 in DC you have to stop all noise, so that they give you like a little bit of a leeway, like after 11 to sort of wind it down, but then after 11:15 it's like gotta go, and that was what happened, and but yeah, I was impressed by Metro, and just really fun to hang out with both of you and with Arun, and it was a really good time, and I highly recommend it, especially like we were able to get a 4-pack, and we got to check those out for next season. I highly recommend it to everybody. 4-pack for $25 a ticket with fees. Like you can't get 4 tickets to any sporting event for $100, and like even the worst seats at Nats Park, you couldn't do that. So like it's definitely worth looking into. And we just moved sections like to the dry ones, and they were just happy to have people buying concessions. They didn't care. Like there was not a single person who checked any seats beyond the beginning. And I think even that guy was just trying to help people find their seats. So
he was not an enforcer. He was
exactly. He was
clearly a DC United.
Yeah, he kept on calling it a match. Yeah,
I know. I'm like,
the match.
Wrong sport, buddy. But glad you're here to not really help much.
Exactly. He knows which section number he's by, so that's good. But all right, Tim, I know that we have to let you go, but any thoughts about any of the world of sports, whether you want to have a quick thought on the NBA or anything before I let you go?
Well, yeah, definitely a good hang at the game, and we should keep doing it as a annual tradition.
For sure.
I'll just shout out Edmonton and Adrian to get back to the finals. Hopefully they win it this year, and break the Canada drought. So I'm paying attention to the finals a little bit more than I probably would if it was two random teams. So
Are you gonna still watch the finals on the NBA side too, or do you?
yeah, I think so. I mean, I might not watch like every minute of every game, but I'm pretty interested. Like, I do think OKC will win pretty easily, but um, Indiana's been proving everybody wrong. So maybe it'll go long. It'll be a fun series. But I mean, the NBA is upset about it because small markets, so
Yeah,
it could get really bad ratings.
I
But
think
we'll
it will
see.
get better. Well, I mostly.
Yeah,
Well, it just depends. If the Pacers can make it a series, I think that people will tune into like 5, 6, and 7. But if it's a
yeah. If it's
blowout, I think
like
it's gonna be tough. Like,
if
uh,
OKC goes up, yeah, like 2-0 or 3-1, I
yeah,
watch out.
yeah, exactly. So, but Tim, thank you so much for being a
Yeah,
part
thanks, guys.
this show, not only tonight, but all season long. This may be the season finale of the Sports on the Hill podcast. If the Defenders find a way to win that game on Sunday, we will come back for a bonus episode and recap that next week. But Tim, if that doesn't happen, thank you for everything you've done this season, and I hope you have an awesome summer.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was a good one. Have a good rest of the show. I'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Peace
thanks.
out, Tim.
See ya.
All right. With that, we're gonna switch gears. I'm gonna let you pick which topic you want to talk about next, champ.
Well, I did want to point out some stats from the Defenders game
Oh, yeah,
against
yeah.
the Battlehawks. I didn't get a chance to do that. So Mike Diallo, who was the quarterback for this game, he's the backup to Teamu, only completed 69.2% of his passes for 42 yards and a touchdown, but he led the team in rushing. He had 10 rushes for 60 yards, including a couple of them where he put on mean stiff arms on defenders who he shouldn't be putting stiff arms on, but he did it anyway. But the team as a whole ran for 106 yards. So that's something to think about, especially in a game like that where it's wet, it's nasty. You know, the run game is where you're going to rely on the most, especially in those conditions. And they were able to do that. But Battlehawks were able to do it a lot better. 146 yards rushing on 31 carries as a team and a touchdown. Brandon Silvers only threw the ball 8 times. So it was a run heavy offense for the Battlehawks in those conditions with 31 rushes to only 8 passes. He completed 6 of 8 for 105 yards, didn't throw a touchdown at all. But I mean, they clearly had the effectiveness with the run game that they didn't really need the pass game in this one. Defense was the defensive backs were pretty much not really into the game as much with the fact that they were only running the ball most of the game. So a good litmus test for this team to see what they need to do to take care of this Battlehawks team in St. Louis on Sunday in order to win the conference championship and make it to the UFL championship. 2 years removed from making it to the XFL championship before the merger. Hopefully they are able to do so. And if they're able to do so and not only make it there, but also win the championship, then it's going to be like, damn, we lost Reggie Barlow as our coach, but we still managed to make it here. It just shows the talent of this team. So good luck to them.
But this coach, right, is planning to join Reggie Barlow in the offseason, right?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
I thought that he was going to join the team. I thought Reggie was taking everybody, but he was allowing them to keep him until the end of the season. Hold on. I'm going to I want to look this up because I think that this was something that I did see. Yeah, is playing for coaching.
Well, while Robbie looks that up, I want to talk really quickly about the DC United, who had a pretty good week this week. They managed to put together 4 points in 2 matches this week, a draw and a win. So they're starting to claw back into the Eastern Conference table. It started on Wednesday with a 1-1 tie against New England, and that game took place at Audi Field where we were at on Friday. The only goals were from Ile Fengo in extra time to end the first half, and then to tie it, it was Gabriel Pirani in extra time at the end of the game to tie it up and send the game to a 1-1 tie. Washington had a lot of shots in this one, 20 shots with only 4 on target and 53% of the possession throughout this game. So they were really in control of this game, but still only managed to tie. But they managed to tie, which gave them 1 point in the standings in the Eastern Conference against New England. And then they were able to follow that up 2 days later with a victory in Cincinnati at TQL Stadium, where they defeated Cincinnati FC by a score of 2-1. Pirani, who scored that game tying goal on Wednesday, would score the first goal of the game in the second minute of the game. William Connor Antley would score in the 19th minute after Huke Stevie Kevin Denke scored in the 15th minute. So all the goals were scored in the first half of the game, but DC was able to take it with a 2-1 victory. Not as many shots as the game on Wednesday, only 11, but 5 of them were on target. Didn't have a lot of possessions in this game, only 38% to Cincinnati 62%, but it still ended up going the way of the defenders with a 2-1 victory, earning 3 points for the victory. So on top of the tie that they had on Wednesday, 4 points on the board for them this week. And when you look at the Eastern Conference table, they now sit 12th in the Eastern Conference table at 18 points. They are 4 back of Chicago for 11. And the very team, New England, that they tied on Wednesday, they sit 5 points back of that team in the table. New England is sitting at 10th in the table, but the key place you want to be at is 9th or 8th, because that gets you into a play-in for the playoffs. And right now, New York City sits at 9th and Charlotte sits at 8th. DC sits 7 points back of both of those teams when it comes to the table. So still a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of season to be played, but this was a good week for DC United because they not only got points, but they managed to get a win as well to get 3 points and bring themselves up a little bit more. This coming week, they only have the one game they're going to be going up against Chicago on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. That game will be taking place here at Audi Field, which is why the playoff game that the defenders that are in, if they had home field, they would still have to go to St. Louis because of the scheduling conflict with DC United playing at home on the day before. So there you go.
Yep, exactly. Just a little update. ChatGPT helped me out. I was right. Shannon Harris is set to join Tennessee State University, joining his former head coach of the Defenders with Reggie Barlow. So he'll be their quarterbacks coach over there. He's also worked with Reggie at Alabama State and Virginia State before. So it'll be the fourth different team he has played with, coached with him. So that's what I thought I remember. But he said, "Hey, I need to start doing some stuff at the college level, but you can finish off it for me." And the same thing with the defensive coach. He went to join Reggie, and he needed to start setting up their main system, but his son became the defensive coordinator temporarily for the Defenders as well. So interesting to see what happens next year when those guys are gone, or I'm not sure if our defensive coordinator is set to join his dad on the defensive side or not. But something to be looking forward to as we continue to look at the Defenders next year. So a lot to unpack with that. Let's get into a couple other topics real quickly. Do you want to talk about the Mystics or baseball first?
talk Mystics. Let's talk Mystics. The Mystics coming. They came in with. They came in off of a. They were 0-3 on their West Coast trip. But they came home, and this is a game that actually didn't even take place in their home arena, Care First Arena in D.C. This actually took place at the Royal Farms Arena in Baltimore, with the Mystics getting a victory over the Fever by a score of 83-77. No Caitlin Clark. She was out with an injury, but the Mystics were able to take advantage of that with a strong showing in this one. Sonia Citron, the number 3 overall pick in this year's WNBA draft for the Mystics, had 13 points in 34 minutes with 7 rebounds and an assist. Kiki Erafin also scored in double figures, 16 points in 23 minutes with 8 rebounds and an assist. Brittany Sykes, who's been a scoring machine for this team through their first 6 games at this point, 21 points, 9 boards, and 4 assists in 34 minutes for them. And Shakira Austin got 13 points off the bench for the Mystics, who got the victory to improve to 3-3, dropping the Fever down to 2-3. But it would be a 1-1 week for the Mystics, because the next game would be against the still undefeated New York Liberty on Friday at Care First Arena. So a 2-game homestand finishes at 1-1 as they lost to the Liberty by a score of 85-63. For the Mystics, Citron only 10 points in 31 minutes and with 4 rebounds. Sykes at 20 points and 4 rebounds and 3 assists in 31 minutes. Erafin, 12 points in 25 minutes. She also had 7 boards and 2 dimes as well. They were the only ones that scored in double figures for the Mystics in this one. For the Liberty, Sabrina Ionescu had 28 points, leading all scorers in this one in 32 minutes. She also had 3 rebounds and 5 assists for the Liberty, as they had 4 of their 5 starters scoring double figures, with Rebecca Gardner scoring 11 points off the bench for the Liberty. Jonquel Jones, the center, had 14 points. Leonie Fibich had 12 points, and Brianna Stewart had 10 points for the Liberty. And so that ended up being a loss for them. They dropped to 3-4 on this one. Their next game, they actually have a couple games coming up for the Mystics coming up this week. They will be taking on the Indiana Fever in Indiana on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Then they will come back home and face the Liberty yet again on Thursday night at 7:30, and then they host the Connecticut Sun on Sunday at 3 p.m. So an afternoon matinee, near matinee game for the Mystics, which will be a home game for them. So that they got 3 games coming up this week, with 2 of the 3 at home, 1 being on the road. They currently sit at 3-4 through the first 7 games. Maybe they can come out of this one perhaps 2-1, with them already holding a victory over the Sun and the Fever. And maybe they might get lucky with the Liberty, or maybe they won't. But either way, I think a 2-1 record this week would do wonders for them to put them at 5-5. Honestly, through the first 10 games of the season. That's a good mark to have to start off a season after a season where you almost made the playoffs, and you went and got a talented player in the top 5 of the draft this year, and you lost your 6th overall pick to an ACL injury. Mystics are doing very well to start off with, but they got to be able to maintain it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting that their next matchup is against the Fever, who will once again will be without Caitlin Clark. I have to say that was a huge advantage, because the game was moved to Baltimore, same arena that I saw Lincoln Park a couple of weeks ago. Huge arena, so obviously they were thinking they were going to sell it out with Caitlin Clark coming to town. They would usually actually move that game to Capital One Arena, but Capital One Arena is now closed for the next couple of weeks as they do renovations, as they do pump in $500 million into that stadium over the next 3 years to renovate everything from the top. There'll be a new roof that will let in light, to new exterior, to new extra seating, more food places, more bathrooms, everything. So it's basically like a brand new stadium we're going to get by the end of the next 3 years. They're just playing in it while they're doing it. But because of that, they had to go to the next largest stadium in the area. And I have to figure that a lot of Caitlin Clark fans that were coming out to this game probably either sold their tickets to possibly Mystics fans on the cheap or didn't show up at all and just didn't use them. So that had to probably help push the Mystics a little bit more, because it would have almost been more like a neutral site if she was playing, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it will be interesting as it shifts to Indiana now for this next one. They're going to want a rematch. Indiana's not doing so well, obviously, with the loss of Caitlin Clark. They've now lost 3 in a row coming into this game. Their last win coming over Atlanta in Atlanta. And in that game, Caitlin Clark was playing. So they haven't won a game, I don't believe, since she's been out injured. So anyway, that'll be on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And it's actually on NBA TV for people who want to check that one out at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. And then on Saturday, there's an 8 p.m. game. That's the one that's at Chicago. So if we do have a show next week, if the Defenders win, we will break down those two games for sure. With that, let's switch over to some baseball updates. Why don't you let us know how the Nationals are doing?
All right, so the Nationals went west, young man, for 3-game series out west. First against the Mariners, where they lost that first game of that series by a score of 9-1, but then they wielded off 4 straight victories, taking 2 of 3 from the Mariners by a score of 9-0 on game 2 on Wednesday, and then 9-3 on Thursday. Then they headed out to the desert to face the Diamondbacks, where they took 2 of 3 there. They took the first 2 games of the series, 9-7, and then 11-7 on Saturday, which included an incredible, get this, and I wish I had my Saturday soundbite for this one. They scored 8 runs in the first inning before they even recorded an out. No outs were recorded before they scored. They scored 8 runs before an out was recorded. They ended up with 10 runs in that first inning, and then 1 in the second before they were held scoreless the rest of the way. But by then, they had pretty much had it out of reach at that point. Michael Soroka would be the winning pitcher on this night. 5 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits and 4 earned, did walk 1, but struck out 3 in this one for the Nationals to get the victory there. But they did lose the series finale to the Diamondbacks on Sunday by a score of 3-1. So they were able to take 4 out of 6 from that West Coast road trip. And now they got 2 series at home coming up in the next this coming week. They are hosting the Chicago Cubs. The Cubbies are coming to town beginning on Tuesday at 6:45. 6:45 start, same thing on Wednesday and same thing on Thursday. And then they're going to be having the Texas Rangers coming to town for a weekend series at Nats Park, a 6:45 start time on Friday, and then 2 afternoon start times on the weekend, Saturday at 4:05 Eastern for game 2, and then game 3, a 1:35 start time for that one. So the Nationals are looking to start building some momentum. They currently sit in the middle of the NL East at 28-31. They are 9 back of the Mets, who are currently leading the NFC East, the NL East, I should say. And they actually will be playing the Mets after they finish with the Rangers. That's going to be their next series after the Rangers in New York, so they'll get a chance to go up against Juan Soto, Ron Soto, and the Mets to try to gain some ground on them in the NL East. So we'll see what happens there, but hopefully we do have a show next week. We'll talk about how they did against the Cubbies and against the Rangers at home this week.
A couple of things about the stat, about the 9 runs before the first out. So that tied a National League record in history set by the Philadelphia Phillies August 13th, 1948. And only one team has done better than that, which is the MLB record, which is the Red Sox, and they did that in 2003 in June. In that game, the Red Sox scored 14 runs in the first inning. Against the Florida Marlins. But anyway, so I thought that those are some historic numbers, champ, and not, it has not been replicated many times in history. So,
I mean, this team, it was a story on MLB website that this team, and I said it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, that their main focus during the off season was hitting more home runs, and that's what they've been doing this season. Like James Wood, CGA Abrams, these guys are out here hitting the long ball and really not just manufacturing runs, but really putting runs on the board and really getting that run support, which has been a struggle for this team. As with this pitching staff, is not getting the run support because this pitching staff as a whole, they're not a overly talented pitching staff, so they're not going to go out there and dominate games like you expect from like what you saw back in the early 90s with the Braves and their big three. You're not going to see that. You're not going to see that anymore, like what you saw then. What you're going to see is that if a pitcher can go out there and manage a game and get run support, then they're going to be very successful. And that's been the issue with this team over the last couple of years, is not getting run support. But this season, they're getting plenty of run support. It's just that the pitchers need to go out there and manage the game, make their pitches, and rely on defense to be able to do their job, as well as them doing their jobs of limiting walks and getting strikeouts and, making sure that the other team doesn't put a lot of runs on the board, because that's what's going to help this team in the long run. As I sat here and just gave up a home run playing the Diamondbacks. So there's that. But anyway, but that's what they focused on this season, is hitting more long balls. They were second to last in homers as a team, and I think they're on pace to be at least either middle of the road or close to top 10 in homers as a team, at least right now. But that could change, as we're just into June. We haven't even hit All-Star break yet. A lot of that can change between now and when the season ends.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that this James Wood trade, for Juan Soto is coming together here. I want to give some of his stats because it's been pretty incredible. There's only 2 players currently hitting over 280 with 15 home runs and 8 stolen bases, and that's Shohei Ohtani and James Wood. That's it. That's the whole thing. And so shout out to Grant Paulson for that tidbit. But I just wanted to. I had AI give me his current stats right now. He's boosting a 286 batting average, 385 on base percentage, a 567 slugging percentage, which culminates in a 952 OPS, 44 RBIs, rank him tied for 8th in the league, and he has 2.7 wins above replacement, underscores his significant contribution, an average exit velocity of 94 miles per hour.
He booms the ball. When he gets the right part of the bat on the ball and it launches off that bat, it goes. It absolutely goes. He's hit at least 30% of his home runs. I might be exaggerating here, but at least 30% of his home runs have an exit velo of above 100 so far this season. That man booms the ball when he gets a hold of it.
Yeah, it's he's tied for 5th in MLB in home runs with 16 so far this season. So just wanted to give a little bit of some background into how he's doing this year as well. Perfect. With that, I think we're going to let you talk a little bit of wrestling. The one piece of news that I've seen from tonight's Raw is I see that made good on a promise for an outfit change at the beginning of the episode. There was talk about if Indiana Pacers versus Knicks, the commentators had a little bit of a wager on they'd have to wear the other person's more, outfit or more similar to it, depending on who won. And he made true on that to start the Raw. But any other news
So
you've seen come out of it so far?
So to clarify, the bet was, it was between Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. Cole's a Knicks fan, and McAfee, being from Indiana, is a Pacers fan. And the bet was, if the Knicks would have won the Eastern Conference Finals, Pat McAfee, who doesn't normally wear a suit in commentary, would have had to wear a suit during commentary. But if the Indiana Pacers would have won, which they did, Michael Cole would have to wear a tank top, or in this case, an Indiana Pacers jersey on commentary. And as people are watching right now on Netflix, the Indiana Pacers won, so Michael Cole is currently wearing a Indiana Pacers jersey, and it is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life. Other than that, a lot going on in wrestling. Money in the Bank's coming up this weekend. The Money in the Bank match for the women has been set, with Stephanie Becker being the last to qualify on this episode of Raw tonight, winning a triple threat match with Liv Morgan Liv Morgan and Ivy Nile as part of the triple threat. She won, pinning Ivy Nile with the STB to get into the Money in the Bank match. She just got elevated to the main roster 6 days after she lost the NXT championship to JC Jane on NXT on the CW. So we got that going on. And then the men's Money in the Bank, the final qualifier for that, I believe, will be the main event of the show tonight, to determine who's going to be the last person into the men's Money in the Bank matchup this coming Saturday as well. Saturday is going to be a busy time for WWE, because at 3 p.m. Eastern time, which is 12 p.m. West Coast time, it's going to be Worlds Collide. It's going to be WWE's NXT along with WWE main roster stars, as well as AAA, which they recently acquired during WrestleMania, and they announced it during WrestleMania weekend. They're going to be having matches mixing in all of those wrestlers in that card, and we're going to have a special guest that'll be live reacting to that event with the Sith, and that's one of our longest supporters, Hector, who is a lucha libre aficionado, all about AAA and CMLL. He's going to be doing the live reactions alongside Sith for Worlds Collide, and then at 6:55 Eastern time on Twitch, Kick, and Facebook, it will be myself and Sage that'll tag in, and we are going to be doing the live reactions to Money in the Bank for all of our fans there. So we got a lot going on this Saturday. And one other wrestling note, congratulations to Kosei Fujita of New Japan Pro Wrestling, becoming the youngest Best of the Super Juniors winner in history. The 22-year-old defeated Yo on Sunday in the finals to win the tournament. He will now get an opportunity at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship against El Desperado whenever he decides to do so. It won't be at Dominion because that card has already been set, and they're not on there. And so it will happen most likely later on down the road. The next tournament that's coming up for New Japan will be the G1 Climax, which is the heavyweight tournament, round robin tournament, to determine the next challenger for the IWGP World Championship. That title is going to be on the line at Dominion on June the 15th against Hiroki Goto against Shingo Takagi. So that's going to be going on. And of course, AEW had their pay-per-view recently, Double or Nothing. NXT had Battleground. So much going on in wrestling. You can hear about it all with episode 287 of the podcast, which will be up on Tuesday, sometime Tuesday before, I don't know what time, but it'll be up Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever I can get around to editing it. it'll be up. You can hear about our thoughts on Battleground. You can hear our thoughts on Double or Nothing, as well as all the fallout from both of those events on the weekend review with myself and the Sith. And you can check out live streams of the podcast and of PLEs on Twitch, on Facebook, as well as now on Kick. All at with Twitch and Kick, it's True No Spots Pod. Facebook is No Spots Pod.
Perfect. Yeah, I hope that everyone is able to tune in. I was able to tune in a little earlier to the wrestling, the weekly recap show that they actually did on a Monday tonight. And so that's a true No Spots Pod. That VOD is up, and go check it out if you want more wrestling content. Champ, I had so much fun getting to hang out with you in person. We'll have to definitely have you come over and enjoy either the pool or just enjoy the backyard sometime this summer and hang out for sure. And we'll definitely have to do more football next year. Or I'd love to even go to the soccer game with you at Audi Field at some point this summer as well. But it was so great to see you in person, and I really appreciate all that you've been able to do with us. He's repping the chain of the Defenders, which I love, and yeah, it was really cool for us to be able to all be together physically instead of just, I love this virtual connection we have, but that was just such a fun day, win or lose, and I look forward to getting to hang out with you again sometime soon.
Absolutely. It's been a fun season, and hopefully the Defenders can win one more so we can have one more show to talk about them and other sports and stuff like that. But if not, this has been a really good season. I cannot wait for when the Commanders get ready for training camp, and I cannot wait for football, for NFL football, and I cannot wait to see what the Mystics are going to do, what the Nats are going to do, what the United's going to do. So go DC United. Hail to the Commanders. Let's go Mystics. Let's go Caps. Let's go all DC sports. Go Kigueño. Sayonara.
Thank you so much, Champ. And with that, we're going to switch our graphics and switch the guests of the show. And we're going to bring in our Stanley Cup playoff round table. We've got Adrian, the Oilers fan and Caps fan, but coming back, we got Ryan, who's a Canadian, doing Carolina fandom. And then we're brought back Gil, who is hopefully recovered from the hangover that is the Capital season, and is willing to chat with us about the Cup final and what potentially might be the last hockey segment we get to do this season, unless the Defenders can miraculously win on the road this weekend. And if so, we will do a Cup check and check in on the Cup action next week. We'll bring them in one at a time. But Adrian, congratulations on your Oilers, and how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. A little nervous, of course, because I'm, like that superstition has rubbed off on me pretty well. I keep thinking like, oh, I got to get a gold ranking on this badge in this gym in Pokemon Go before Wednesday, or else the Oilers are going to lose the Stanley Cup, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, I got anxiety like all the time, man. It kind of sucks. I'm just really eager for this series to start. I know that they schedule everything in advance, assuming that the game, like all the series go to 7 games and they get the break in between the rounds and stuff. But yeah, man, I'm really jonesing. I'm really eager for it to get started.
Yeah, if people don't know, the first game of the Cup Final, a rematch of last year's Cup Final that was pretty exciting, is set to start Wednesday, June 4th, so just in about 2 days, at 8 p.m. on TNT. So the way that it works is TNT and ESPN got the rights to basketball and hockey now, so they got to figure out how to deal with both having both rights. And so they made a deal that on ABC, which is related to ESPN, if people don't know, Disney owns it all. But they are doing basketball because sadly it's still a higher rated sport, and TNT is doing the hockey final, and they do it every other night, so that way they don't compete with each other. One final game in each sport going every other night for the next week or two. And
That's good teamwork right there. I like that.
yeah, I like it too. They're not trying to step on each other's toes too much, and
Exactly.
something at the end. So that the first game's gonna be on Wednesday, then Friday, and then a little bit of a break, and then they pick up again on Monday because they have to fly the furthest possible distance between those 2 points. So they give them at least an extra day and a whole weekend to try to get there. It's kind of funny though that this series doesn't have a weekend game though because of it. It's got a Friday and then a Monday. So that'll be interesting nonetheless. But we're gonna bring in Ryan next. Ryan, I'm so sorry about the Hurricanes, but I am happy that they didn't get swept this time. So that's a positive direction. Man, I know the Caps played Florida well this season, beating them a lot of times, but they just seem to be a completely different animal when it comes to the playoffs.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is their third consecutive trip to the finals. So, I mean, you can't do that unless you've got kind of a switch that you can turn on. It's kind of been the conversation, I think, around that team is, they kind of limped into the playoffs. Florida did. They didn't look so hot at the end of the regular season. Finished behind both Toronto and Tampa Bay in the division. But didn't matter because they could turn it on. I've been wondering about Kachuk. I still don't I think he's nursing something. Like, I don't think he's 100%. He just hasn't looked as impactful as he had in past postseasons, but it hasn't mattered. He's still played well. He just hasn't been like the big game changer, that he's been in years past. But they've had other guys step up. They've got three lines that are really quick to capitalize on turnovers. They kind of got that aggressive style down where they'll really overload the puck side, particularly in the neutral zone, and try to get turnovers that way, force the other team to make mistakes. And that's definitely the tale of the series between the Hurricanes and the Panthers overall. Is there's more turnovers than I'm used to seeing from the Hurricanes, and I think that has a lot to do with the way that Florida plays. It's going to be a really fun matchup against the Oilers, though, because I think the Oilers have the best team speed of any team, and that's what they've shown in the playoffs, is that they're playing at a speed I think that's even a little bit faster than I think what Florida has seen from anybody in the East so far. So that'll be interesting to see. Adrian, you might notice I got my lights behind me, blue and orange. So I'm on the Oilers bandwagon for the finals for sure. I think it'd be fun. Of course, I'm mostly biased just in terms of play style. I just think we need more diversity. I don't want every team trying to copy Florida. That's the last thing I want. So I would love to, and of course I think it would be good for the legacy and for the league to see, one of the greatest players right now, McDavid, lift the cup. Which, when you said superstition, I thought you were going to talk about the Western Conference trophy incident.
I mean, I felt better about that just because I feel like they're not as timid, and they didn't touch that thing last year, and that it didn't do them any good last year, right? So it's just like, so but I watched some footage shot from some Oilers fans' phone. They watched it was an away game, right? It was the game 5 was in Dallas, so they had the Rogers Center with the fans. They're watching the game on the jumbotrons, and there was an audible gasp when he touched the trophy, and just let them celebrate. It's fine. They didn't touch that thing last year, so it's just they're thumbing their nose at the superstitions and stuff. So maybe I need to get on board with that and give myself a bit of relief. My blood pressure could really use that right now. So yeah,
Man,
I'm going to bring Gil in here because I want to get his take.
yeah.
Neutral observer of both
feel
of
the thrill.
championship games, and also wanted to hear Gil's thoughts on touching of a trophy to see what his is. I believe in the superstition of that as well. We'll start off with the Eastern Conference Finals. What was your take on that series?
This is going to sound really, really strange, but I was surprised and yet not surprised by what happened in that. I thought it would be a lot more competitive. The first 3 games certainly weren't. I'm still trying to figure out what happened. I guess the only explanation I can think of is Florida did to the Canes what they did to us. If you think about it, that's probably the Occam's razor and all that. Most simple explanation is the one that works, and that's really when I look at it all, that's really what happened. I can't really boil it down to any worse than that. It wasn't the boring hockey that everybody fucking says it is. Pardon my French. I'm sorry. It's not. 5 guys coming at you when you're trying to move the puck is not boring. Not being able to score when you hit a red wall every frickin' time you cross the red line is not boring. Good defense is not boring. I'm sorry. Learn to watch and accept the game for what it is. But no, it was tight in spots, and then Florida would, Ryan, you mentioned the switch. Well, they turn on a switch in like one part of a game, and it happened to be the appropriate part, usually the third period. It would be close, and then bam, they'd hit that accelerator really hard, and they'd just take over the game. And if you think about it, that's what really changed it all, was their ability to do that. But yeah, that's my take on the ECF. I'm
Real quickly, I think that what's interesting is Florida has better complementary players now than they did last year, which is like scary. Like, I mean, they added someone like a Marchand, who's almost like a throwaway on their team, right? But it's like a captain of the Bruins, right? So like that's scary, like, cause like he could show up at any moment, and he doesn't have to be in your top 2 lines to do that, and in this system, and it's just dangerous.
Yeah, he can really nose his way in there, Sorry, I had to.
Ryan.
Be that rat that licks, something. It's disappointing that he's on that team for sure. Makes it easier to root against them. Gil, what were some of your thoughts on the Western Conference Finals, which I thought was going to be more competitive, and I was kind of surprised that Edmonton was able to dispatch them in 5.
Oh, I'm actually not surprised that turned out the way it did. I hate Dallas. I can't stand them. I hate that team. I really hate their coach, and I love it that his arrogance imploded the team in Game 5. I'm being funny, and yet I'm being serious about that all at the same time. You don't treat your goalie like that. You don't do that ever. That was just wrong. And if there's any justice, he'll never, ever coach a pro team ever again. But that was just awful. And the guy he swapped him for, their backup, what does he do? Promptly lets in a soft goal. What was it, 2 minutes after he's put in? Yeah, real smart. Real smart there. Against the most lethal, you do that against the most, your season's on the line, the most lethal scoring duo there is in the league. You do that, sure. Yeah, you deserve an NHL job, sir. But so no, I wasn't surprised it turned out the way. A little thing about the touching the trophy. I'm glad we're not part of getting paid for this as part of a job, because we're talking about touching, and that's
Inappropriate.
if we had an HR to report to, we'd all be in trouble right now. So
Probably.
but in all seriousness, from a Caps perspective, it worked for us.
Right.
Ovi went out and grabbed and touched and did a lot of things.
Yeah, let's go into more detail about Gil. What else did Ovi do?
Well, he did a lot of fondling with the cup once he got that.
Yeah.
And a lot of wet things too, from what I understand.
Yeah.
I'm so happy we're after 10 o'clock. Hopefully all the children are asleep.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I kind of feel the same way Gil did, and that's why I wanted to let him do it and not me. So there you go. But all right, so let's talk about this rematch that's coming up here. I'm going to start off with you, Gil, and then I'm going to get Ryan and then get Adrian's take as well. But Gil, what is your take from last year? It was competitive. It was not competitive at the beginning, got competitive, and then fell apart at the end. What do you see the changes for this season?
Wow. So I don't think we could have gotten a better matchup. So Irresistible Force versus Immovable Object Part 2. So it could be a really good movie sequel: Toy Story 2, Godfather 2 rather, Aliens, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, or it could be a really bad sequel: Godfather 3, Speed 2, Jaws of the Revenge, Staying Alive, Caddyshack 2, the list goes on. I'm hoping for good. I don't think it will be anything like last year. I think the thing that got Edmonton last year was they'd never been that far before. And I think in the first two games it kind of showed, and then the third game they got their legs under them, but they still couldn't pull it out. I don't think you're going to see that. I've seen a lot of determination from that team. More so this year, standing on business, as the phrase goes. So you're not going to see this, 3-0 and then, sweep the other way thing. You're not going to see that. I think you're going to see a lot of close games. I don't think you're going to see a lot of boat races. You may see a lot of goals in spurts, but you're not going to see any team get the upper hand for, that far. I think it's going to be a very competitive series. I think at some point, we're still waiting for Florida to hit the wall. Maybe they won't. Maybe they are rejuvenated by their deadline acquisitions. Who knows? Barkov's still proving why he won the Selke again. I think it's going to be a good back and forth series. I don't know who's going to win it. I think it's a lot closer than people think. But it's going to be a very entertaining series. It's going to be nothing like either of the conference final series, I think.
So you were talking about Barkov, and I found this really interesting statistic. Jaromir Jagr's teammate has played in the Stanley Cup for 45
years.
Consecutive years.
Yep.
And Barkov now has done it the last 3 years. Is one of the last teammates of Jaromir Jagr. That's wild.
That's
every
crazy.
single cup for 45 years has had a teammate of Jaromir Jagr in it. And just shows the lasting legacy and why it will be interesting. Gil, I want to get one last thought, and then I'm going to move to Ryan to get his take on this series. So there was an announcement that it might be Ovechkin's last year, which was a PR gaffe, right? And then they try to take it back, and then in Russia they interview Ovi's wife, and she's like, "That really probably is his last year." It's hard to take that back. I'm still standing by the fact that if he scores more than 20 goals and they make it past 2 rounds, or at least make it 2 rounds in next year in the playoffs, that he'll come back for 1 more year. But I want to get, Gil, your take. Do you think it's the swan song for Ovi, or do you think that it depends on how he does?
I mean, anything can happen, anything can change, but I really think I don't think he has any desire to play much past 40 years old. He's going to turn 40 in about, 3 months. in September. I don't think he really wants to go on much further. I think we're all selfish and jealous, and we want to see him. Well, maybe you and I here anyway. We want to see him keep going on, but
yes.
He is September 17th is when he turns 40.
Right. And then he's got to play the whole season as a 40-year-old, and if it I got a box of that too.
I was like, wait, I know his birthday.
I'm missing out. I don't have any OVOs, man. I don't know what I'm missing the taste of victory, I guess.
Yeah, I have never actually opened a box, but it's like
I had a bowl when they first came out. I had one. I got 2 boxes. One to actually have and one to just keep. And yeah, they taste like really sweet Apple Jacks. If anybody remembers those.
Right. Just so you know, Ryan, our grocery store Giant, which is like the big local chain.
It's like our version of Kroger's.
Right. So they make these, which is wild.
That came out of nowhere, Adrian. Oh my god.
Hey, look, I was like, where's the last place I remember seeing Ovechkin's birthday? Y'all talk about when he's turning 40. Oh yeah, I happen to have the cereal box right here.
They put the birthday on it. That's why I was trying to figure. That's funny.
I thought maybe I misheard, but what I thought I heard Adrian or somebody say was, "What about Ahos?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he doesn't. Yeah, Ryan, you don't have any OVOs. You got to get Sebastian Ahos.
Ahos, that would be pretty great.
Yeah, I'll get that cereal. Screw it. Who cares?
I can't imagine Aho doing something like that. I just can't imagine it. Like, even if he was like
a lot of extra O's.
Like, even if he was like having like a career like superstar campaign at whatever point and people wanted those kinds of endorsements, I feel like he just wouldn't do it.
I hope he gets 100-goal season, because then it could be like the 100.
Yeah.
There, and then there you go. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sure the team would do something. I'm sure that the social media team would do something crazy with it. But if he had something, something like that happening, but anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
It just got me off guard.
All right. Well, Ryan, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I sometimes hate being right, because I said this to you several times, that I thought after the first round, I thought this is where we were headed, was the Stanley Cup Final rematch. And now that it's here, I kind of brought up, it's kind of an interesting rock, paper, scissors match between, Florida's kind of tenacious kind of team kind of defense and, Edmonton's high-speed offense. And, I think kind of what Gil was saying earlier about now it's going to be a little bit different because Edmonton has been here before. It really can't be understated. I really think a lot of times teams have to fail in the playoffs before they succeed. And I also kind of felt that way, like with Edmonton's season last year, that the switch got turned in terms of they were at the bottom, the basement of the NHL in like December of that season. And they turned it around, made a few changes that helped. But yeah, this team is playing at a super high level in the playoffs. They've had a lot of depth scoring too. Everybody's been talking about Florida's depth. I don't know how many exactly different players, but I do know that Jeff Skinner is a point per game player at these playoffs. He's played in 2 games and has 2 points. So I couldn't resist it, with his history. Of course, being there was like Bieber mania in North Carolina when he was a rookie, or had that crazy.
I remember that crazy year.
And fluked his way into the All-Star game because somebody else was injured, and he was going to be on the rookie slot, so he was still going to be there. But then he made his way to the All-Star team, and it was perfect because it was in North Carolina that year. The All-Star game was. But anyway, so I think I I I actually could see a weird like lopsided game or two. But yeah, I can't I mean, we can't possibly get a repeat of last year with the 3-4 and then 3 against. I really can't see either team winning 3 games in a row. I just think it's going to be too much of a chess match, but we could see where one team just kind of has the edge in a particular game. Obviously, Stuart Skinner is notoriously hot and cold, but he's been really hot so far in these playoffs. So if he gets really hot, I mean, same thing with Bobrovsky. Um, he's got different levels. So there could be a weird game where one team gets shut out. I think actually that's going to be my bold prediction, is that we're going to see a shutout in one of these games. We'll see which side, but I'm leaning towards Edmonton. I know I'm a little bit biased jumping on the bandwagon, but I'm leaning towards Edmonton just because I think their speed might make Florida make some more adjustments than they normally would have to, with their style that they play. And there, I think, obviously, again, just I think you have to give Edmonton's management a lot of credit over the years. I mean, they were really dogged on for the previous number 1 draft picks that didn't pan out. But but I feel like, especially over the past like 3 years, they've really focused on building a team around Connor McDavid, around his play style. And it's worked out fairly well for them. And maybe this is the year that it pays off. So we'll see.
I kind of think of it a lot like that Ovechkin year, where I see like a huge amount of just hockey fans pulling behind them, because I know that Canada really wants to break this curse. So I feel like Canada is really going to push the Oilers, and then I don't feel that the United States feels that way about Florida, especially after winning last year. So like I feel like they're the heel, to take a reference from Champ, like in this story. And yeah, I'm definitely. Well, I've always been rooting for the Oilers because I've been friends with Adrian for over 25 years. But like, I even more so this season, am pulling for them for sure. And I think that the big difference for me is the Oilers have more lines than I think that a lot of the other teams that Florida has faced this season in the playoffs, right? Carolina has a really good top line, and a second line is okay, but then there's kind of a little bit of a drop off, where I think that in a lot of ways Edmonton can roll their lines, and they've got really strong people on a lot of their different lines, and they have that team speed across all their lines, that it will be interesting to see how they compete with that. That it's not like it's not just the Draisaitl and McDavids, of the world. Like, they can produce beyond just that. So that's sort of some of my thoughts. Adrian, I'll let you. I don't want you. I'm trying to get you to not have to say too much, because I don't want you to jinx your own team. But I will. I do want to get your takeaway of it, and your thoughts as well.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you all. You guys had amazing input. You guys are the best. Yeah, I feel like it's like last year they were nervous. It was like this. It was the furthest Edmonton had ever been. Like, if you recall, like during the lockdowns, like the bubble for the NHL was like when it was wrapping up that season, it was in Edmonton, and then they lost to Colorado, and they went on to win the Cup in 22, and then they got bounced by Vegas the following year, and then it was they get to the finals, right? And then they almost had a reverse sweep. So they've been on the right track. They've just been inching like a little closer every year. They have solid work with McDavid and Draisaitl, especially with like Draisaitl's. He was the top scorer in the regular season this year. Stuart Skinner's been just great. Like I was very impressed that he was able to get like a couple of shutouts, but also like just like he was, like I said last time, like he was only winning with a shutout or like letting in like 6 goals or something stupid like that. But now he's been like okay with getting like a goal or 2 in, so there's like less pressure and he can still deliver. Calvin Pickard is like the backup goalie. I thought he was really good as well. I am disappointed and sad that Hyman is out on injury, and he was like one of the best players on the team. But Connor Brown being in, I'm pretty happy about him being as a part of the squad. I know Florida has resorted to a lot of like enforcement, right? Like a lot of like Tom Wilson wannabes, but with Evander Kane, Darnell Nurse, and just like you know, they don't want that taste that they had last year. I feel like it's not like so much as pressure as like more confidence. Like there's just some sort of like electricity that I feel like with this team as opposed to last year, just because I feel like Florida's got more to lose. They're the defending champions, right? They don't want to be knocked off that pedestal. They love it so much. But Edmonton is like, you know, like much like the way they touched the Western Conference Trophy was like, you know, if they don't win, it's like, well, then we just matched what we did last year. But if we do win, like, then we could actually not only break the Stanley Cup curse for Canada and win Edmonton's first championship in 35 years, but then McDavid will officially be one of the all-time greats. And I feel like that is something he's really eager to get, because we've seen how much of a difference it can make when somebody like Ovechkin can finally get a championship, right? Like, I hated that joke, that stupid joke that is now dead, where it was like, hey, the guy walks into a bar and orders an Alex Ovechkin. What's an Alex Ovechkin? A white Russian with no cup. Ha ha ha. And then, oh, guess what? They won. They can't make that joke anymore. And I want McDavid to have something like that. And not just with Edmonton, but with Canada as a whole. It's like Edmonton has been used to disappointment for so long, especially after that amazing legacy of the 7-year span between 84 and 90, where they won 5 times. You know, it would be nice to get some sort of like history added on top of that. And I'm still nervous, of course, and I would be super ungrateful and unhappy to see Florida go back to back, especially against Edmonton twice. Not just because of Edmonton losing, but because of the inevitable trash talking that's going to come from them. So, but I feel like it's a different set of you know, vibes. Like everyone's got their good roles. Also, like secretly, it wasn't like revealed until after the postseason last year, but like I think both Draisaitl and McDavid were dealing with injuries that they didn't want to be made public. And it feels like they're being a bit more careful this year when it comes to that. I just hope that they can Edmonton can deliver, and I feel like that whole like Amazon Prime thing, which I unfortunately did not watch because I couldn't stomach how it ended. Like if they just watch that passion, watch that fiery, you know, that just, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for here? Like that chutzpah, that joie de
Conviction.
vivre. They want they just channel that. The anger you felt from last year, just channel that into something useful, something productive, something cohesive, and work as a team. And I've noticed like Florida likes to score very close to the goal, like not so much from farther away. So if you can just make like good defensive plays, just keep them out of the goal line, like the crease, I should say.
Yeah. I think the strong thing for Adrian that they really need to do is play on the offensive zone and play with speed and try to keep it as far away from the net as possible. I did want to bring up some Jeff Skinner stats. I thought Ryan
Right.
So Jeff Skinner played 72 games for the Oilers, 16 goals, 13 assists this season, maintained a plus rating of +1, 26 penalty minutes, and registered 144 shots on goal with 11% shooting percentage. Now, 144 is my family's lucky number because it's a gross, right? And 11 shooting percentage in my mom's lucky number. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Nice.
But then also his postseason debut during this playoffs, after 1,078 regular season games, the most in NHL history before a playoff appearance. So like he had a personal drought that was, that no record that has broken the record book. And so the fact that he was able to tally some points in each of those first two games, I'm so happy for him. And I think, especially with some of the other key contributors being out, he could be a wild card, right? I really feel like he could be that guy because just like you were talking about with Connor McDavid, this is his opportunity to change his story too. If he can, on this 1-year contract go out a champion, I think it really changes the narrative on him a lot as well. And so I think that he is sort of my ace in the hole, pick in this one. And so,
A Skinner game winner would be cool.
I would like that as well. So that's sort of my takeaways on Jeff Skinner, and I thought that Ryan would appreciate that segment. But I don't know, Gil. What are your thoughts on his contribution?
Yeah, he's been a pleasant surprise. I think if you're looking for a true, I'm not trying to downplay his contribution, but I think if you're looking for a true ace in the hole, though, at least on that side, Connor Brown's return is going to help them a lot, I think. Speaking as a Caps fan, well, pick your side here. Connor Brown, ex-Cap, even though it was only for one actual game before, unfortunately, he had that horrific knee injury. On the other side, Nate Schmidt, ex-Cap for the Panthers. So again, pick your squad if you're a Caps fan. But no, I think I think it'll be. I can't stress this enough. This is going to be a very even, very back and forth series, even if one game does result in a blowout. And I think I'm going to stress something else here that whichever side does it, they want to watch out for an old but often ignored adage. Don't win a game too big. You win a game 6-1, that tends to piss the other team off. They feel like they have been showed up. That's one of the reasons why you're not going to see too bad of a blowout game or not consecutive blowout games, because both teams are smart enough not to put the other team in that position where they're going to want to come back with double the strength, double the intensity as in the previous game. That's one of the reasons why I think it's going to be a lot more even than these conference final series were.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take on that. One thing, Connor Brown, going back to him, he's such an interesting player over history. He's played for 3 Canadian teams. He is Canadian himself. The only American team he's ever played for is the Capitals. And so, I think that he would be another person with an interesting storyline where a cup would change his story as well, right? So, I do like that shout out, Gil. I think that he can definitely be a difference maker. I really liked him on the Capitals. I was hoping we'd find a way to keep him, but I knew that it was tough at that time to find the salary for it. But I would be really excited for him to win it. Nate Schmidt's already won it, right? He won it with Vegas.
I'm pretty sure he won it with Vegas already. Yeah.
So that's I like Smiley, but I don't need him to win it. So that's my take on that. Ryan, do you have any final takeaway? I'm going to start to wrap it up here.
Sure. I missed the opportunity to say that, now if you go to the bar and you ask for an Alex Ovechkin, they give you a White Russian with a big cup.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Some bartender should have done that in the DC area.
I love it.
Alex Ovechkin's on the house, one big cup of White Russian.
I'd be down. I actually like White Russians. But
yeah, no, I think I've said what I needed to say. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Yeah, a lot less stressful, without my team in it, even though it is a disappointing lack of stress. But I'm used to it. I had a whole decade when Jeff Skinner played for the Hurricanes where I had to pick a team to root for in the playoffs because he wasn't there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know that feeling very well. But if you want more from Ryan, that E Flat Guy, I just did the command in chat, but you can definitely check out twitch.tv/that E Flat Guy. And usually he's doing music, not hockey talk. But a great piano player and multi-instrumentalist, does loops and a lot of other fun stuff. And definitely go check him out. I think we've got a stream coming up on Wednesday morning, right, Ryan? Is that your next one?
That is correct. Wednesday, 10:30 Eastern.
Nice. And then he also does Friday evening streams usually as well. Yeah, a lot of fun. It's done.
Followed him right now. Yeah.
Then, there you go.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun covering hockey with you and getting a perspective from the Carolinas, and it's important to hear from perspectives from all the different sorts of people instead of it just being a Caps fan podcast all the time. So I really appreciate you for coming in and giving us your take. I'm sorry that your team couldn't go a little further. I was hoping for a rematch of that series from the 2000s, but we can hopefully Edmonton wins it this year, and then you guys can have your rematch next year. And so it's been kind of the story lately, right? So one team coming back, and this year we have both teams coming back. But
Teams learning from their failures. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's a good storyline for sure. But Ryan, I really appreciate all the time that you've given us this season, and we'll definitely talk more this summer.
Thanks. It's been fun. Super fun, Gil and Adrian as well.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Ryan. I'll see you on your streams, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Yeah, Adrian, I think you'd really love his streams. You should definitely tune in.
Yeah. My only regret is I didn't follow him sooner.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We can. I'm almost always in that stream, so we can.
Cool.
Chat and, listen to music together on Wednesday mornings. But Adrian, I'm going to give you a final opportunity to give your final take. And if we do. Somehow, if the Defenders win next week, I'll have you back on next week to give what I'll call a cup check, where we talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs. I stole that from Steve Dangle. It's not my joke. That's what he calls his show when they cover the Stanley Cup. But Adrian, any final takeaways before we let you go tonight?
I'm just really excited for it. It's probably going to make me lose a bunch of sleep, but I'm still excited. It's been a thrill, like Gil, and it's been amazing, with Robbie. And I hopefully I'll be, if the so this might not be your last of the season, right? You said that if the Defenders win, then you'll have another one on next Monday.
Yes. So if the Defenders make the championship, then I've got 3 Sports to Talk championships about. So I feel like I kind of have to do one more show, right? So, and if the Defenders were to win that championship, I would even do an additional show beyond that. So for as long as the Defenders stay in the storyline, I continue to do pop-up shows, but they'll be shorter, maybe like 1-hour shows, not like
okay,
and stuff like that. But I would definitely
like the last real episode.
This is the last like full-length episode as I see it, but I would definitely give you an opportunity to talk hockey and my team to talk Defenders if we get that far. So stay tuned, and it encourages all of my fans that if you want more of the podcast to root heavily for the Defenders and the Oilers, so that way I come back next week. So
it's an honor to be here, Robbie. Thank you so much. No matter what happens, it'll be memorable. Hopefully I'll be excited. Like I don't really buy that much like stuff these days, but I make an exception for championship merch. Like I go to town. Like I know I'm a bit of a exactly what like the the apparel and like companies want, like, yes, buy more stuff. But like, I mean, you get to brag about it forever, right? Like I still wear my Nationals hat from when they won. Like, yeah, like we said last, that one right there. I have like a beaten up, sun bleached version of your
it's a little bit
mid-condition hat. I wore it today when I was cutting my grass.
I've got a Nationals flag over there.
Exactly.
You know, other ones over there.
I gave you those two flags too.
Exactly. I've got Nicholas Backstrom flags when they, so like I feel that. Oh, there's another Stanley Cup one up there.
Exactly. So I need some more of that stuff, just because like I was born in 1984, right? Just like you. So I do have an Oilers 84 championship flag, but I'm like, that's a good one, but it looks a little lonely. It could use a friend. So I know there's the other four, but I only have so much space on my wall. Like, well, I mean, it's weird saying that. Like, literally, the only thing behind me is some Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters.
I was wondering about that.
It's a work in progress. I am thrilled that I'm almost done with my setup. Here is my stuff. I just set up this microphone today. I have a capture card or somewhere in my house, and I'm going to use it so I can stream Nintendo Switch games. And I have some great ideas that I want to do. So I'm like really grateful for your help with that, Robbie. Yeah. And I really appreciate it.
Summer, I'm going to definitely help Adrian out and get his streaming set up, and a little plug for myself too. If anyone needs help setting up OBS streams or graphics or doing that sort of stuff, my new company that I've kind of brought back is doing all that sort of stuff, doing photography, video work, stream support, and even do tech support remotely as well. So if anyone needs any of that help, and I'll definitely check out. Champ says he would like some help on OBS support as well. So if anybody wants to learn how to do any of that stuff, I am definitely available to help, and I'll obviously give you guys discounts because you guys are part of my stream team. But we'll definitely have a brand new website for Sports on the Hill podcast and for Web and Games, my production company, coming this summer as part of a rebrand that we'll have for the fall of season 10. I can't believe we'll get to still, no matter what happens, Adrian, I'm so excited that you and Gil and myself can get to cover Ovechkin one more time.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's two more times. I'm not going to try to get greedy, but it's at least we'll get to cover that. And it's been such a cool and an honor to talk hockey with you for now over 20 years, and Gil for over 7 or 8 seasons now. And it's just what a treat that we got to celebrate Ovechkin winning the cup, no matter what happens. And they can't ever take that away from us. And I hope that you get to celebrate another cup this year. So I'm gonna pull hard for that for sure. But Adrian, definitely go check out his channel. It'll be up soon. It's ACL 314. So you can check that out. Also is on YouTube as well. I'm gonna also teach him how to stream maybe to multiple platforms.
Dude, that'd be great. Thank you.
So
he's a wizard, man. He's he's amazing. Yeah, thank you, Robbie. Thank you, and go Oilers, go Caps, go all the DC teams. Thank you for having me, Robbie. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll be on the next one not too long from now if the Defenders win. But if not, it's been a pleasure. Have a great night, Gil, Robbie, everyone in the chat, Champ, E-Flat, aka Ryan. Thank you all.
I like Ryan. Right. Robbie is a wizard, but not the basketball kind, which is pretty
he's the basketball supporting kind.
Exactly.
You never know what he's capable of. He could be like Batman,
I did.
Robbie by day, like basketball wizard by night.
I supported basketball teams for a long time. I was always like a manager, but
that's true. Yeah, witness. Yeah.
That's true.
I can back him up on this.
That's true. But Adrian, it's always a pleasure. We'll definitely have to hang out soon, and in real life as well as on your streams. And I appreciate all the help you've given us. And good luck to your team in the next week or so.
Thank you so much, guys. You have a good one. Okay.
All right.
Having me.
Night.
All right.
Oilers.
Go Oilers.
Go Oil.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, Gil. This is it potentially for our hockey segment, and potentially for the whole entire Sports on the Hill podcast for this season. I'm hoping for the Defenders to get to do one more bonus episode next week. But Gil, what was some of your takeaways on this hockey season, and any final things you wanted to shout out tonight?
Yeah, it was pretty good overall. Bummed that we didn't go any further, but I'll say it again. It was one hell of a beautiful ride. I will take our results that we got any day, any year. When you consider the fact that very little of the opinion was that the Caps would do anything near what they did this year. When you consider that, yeah, you got to be pleased with how things turned out, and even more optimistic when you consider the future. Pardon me. All the young guys that are coming up that have so much potential to be not just stars but superstars as well. Like approaching. Well, I don't. It's kind of strange to say somebody could approach what Ovechkin can do, but you've got a lot of guys here that one day, years down the line, they might be in that conversation. We got quite a few guys that just could be that guy again, and that's a great thing to look forward to. So I
think about the Protas duo. We could have those two brothers could be like the next Stalls, or who knows? You know what I mean? So like they're
two 6'5" hockey players that can not only score but skate as well. I mean, who couldn't be happy about that?
Yeah. So, and that's just a fraction of, you got the Ryan Leonards of the world that already had such incredible playoff experience this year, far beyond any expectations that anyone would get. Like, I didn't know if he would play in a playoff game. I didn't know if he would even make the team this year. And not only did he make the team, got to have an empty net goal on a legendary night, got to meet the greatest hockey player of all time, and he also got to meet Wayne Gretzky. And,
you waited until Adrian was off air to say that.
I did. It was a fun ride for him, and all that playoff experience, even if he wasn't able to score in the playoffs. I think that all of that's so valuable, because as Ryan was talking about earlier, sometimes you got to fail before you succeed, and now he's experienced failure, but not like extreme failure. We didn't get swept like the previous year, but he got 10 games under his belt, or 9, because he didn't play one game. But like, still, it's a lot for someone who's a young star, and that stuff he'll always remember and be able to build upon for next year. And so, I think that there's a lot of exciting things in our future.
Definitely.
All right, with that, I think we're going to call it a night. I'm going to look around just to see who we're going to raid. And if anyone has somebody in chat they'd like me to raid, I can do that as well. I'm tempted. So there's a person who mods for Ryan. And so I thought it would be kind of fun as a thank you to Ryan to raid him. I think I'm going to do that. It's been a long time since we've visited one Gibson Lens. Let's listen to what Gibson is doing right now. So I'll just show you guys who Gibson Lens is. So he is a piano player who does a lot of really cool different stuff. I think we're going to raid over to him. We do the raid command sub raid as well.
Damaged.
And all right, so definitely grab your
here. We have found documentary Dividing Line. Damage for the powerful track on the album. What a great
Cool. All right. I think we're going to go over and visit him. He's a good friend of the channel and a good mod friend of Ryan. We both mod over it on Ryan's channel. So thought that would be a lot of fun to go visit a friend. And we'll get maybe some video game music requested. He does some of that too. And yeah, thank you again, Gil, for everything this season. You've been fantastic. I really appreciate it. And Anna's been great, and C4 as well. And we've had so much fun this season. I'm happy that you were able to come back and do one more show with us and be a part of this Cup preview. And if for some reason we're able to win that Defenders game next week, maybe I'll have you join the Cup check as well. But thank you. Thank you again for everything. And with that, I think we are going to raid out. And I appreciate everyone for tuning in all season long. If this is the last one, I will maybe do some pop-up streams throughout the summer. Stay tuned for more. Follow us on Facebook, Twitch, and all that. The timer is running out of the raid, so I'm going to say goodbye. And thank you, everyone. Bye.